going to step through this very simple Tinder HTML CSS code really quick. So we start out with this container, and this just kind of holds everything in it. We have a couple of CSS properties here. We use the flex display. We align it in a column, and then we center everything just so it renders like this. Within this container, we have four kind of rows. We have this header row, this profile row, this info row, and this button row. We'll start with the header. With that, we just have a little bit of padding that gives it a little bit of space. We get this image, we put it with the class logo. What that does is it just scales it down a little bit. And then the height we do auto. So yeah. Then we can go to the profile, which is the next row, and it's this image. And then we'll also talk about this gray line because that was kind of a difficult part. So to start, we have a little bit of padding to give it a little bit of extra space. And then we have this profile class. And the idea here is we do a little bit of padding, and then we do this border. And what the border does is it draws that gray line in right there. And so that's how we get the gray line. That's with the border top element. And then I styled it just with the color. So it was just kind of like a light gray color. Yeah, this value right here. And then, yep, so then we have the image here. Again, we just scaled it. And then we add the border top left radius and the border top right radius. And this kind of curves the image like it was in the example. And so that way we have the straight gray line and then the curved edges on the photo there. We don't curve these because in the example we keep them pointed. And that's pretty much it for this row. I don't think I missed anything. Yeah, we looked at the scaling for the image. Then we have this info row. We have a name container. The main reason for this is just to give it the padding to make it look like the example. Within that name container, we have a couple things. We have the status text. Within the name container, we have the name itself, right? And so we just kind of set the font family, the color, the font weight, the font size, padding top, and a little bit of extra padding as well. And then we get this check mark to show up as well. We just load the image in, and I just load it in after this text. And so that's how I got the check mark to show up. Additionally, we have the verified text right here, and we have a different color for that. We make that kind of like a gray. We do font size, padding left. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that row as well. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I got the verified image loaded in there. Cool. Yeah, so now we're going to look at the bottom row, and that is this part here. A couple things here. We did the background color to a gray color, and that's how we get the white heart to show up, is we just render it on that gray background. Cool. We do a little bit of a border radius that curves it, makes it look like a button. We set the width. We do margin, display flex, justify content. This is mostly all for centering. The margin top adds a little bit of white space there. We get the width just to make the button the size that we want. And then this is the main centering logic that we do. Mostly it's just this display flex, and we do it in the center. The idea is pretty much we just load in the heart image, and then with this light text, we have just kind of a margin left, and that gives a little bit more space between it. And then we just set like the font size, the color, the weight, and the font family. I think that covers everything. We talked about the gray line under the logo, the rounded corners, and the border. I guess we can talk about this border here. I guess I didn't really go into that. The way that I did that, and let me find it. It's right here. The name container, the info, right here. And we did it with these borders. Yeah, so we round it with this border bottom left radius, and then we actually draw the lines with these lines here. So the border left, border right, and the border bottom. And that's actually what renders in those lines. So that's that. We did the like me on Tinder text. I got the heart just by loading in the image and adding some left padding for the text. The verified image, we looked at how that was rendered in. We centered the element containing the Tinder logo, again, just with that flex. And then we centered the text containing the like me on Tinder, again, also with the flex and the centering.